Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Advantum Health's Roundtable Discussion on Remote Workforce Dynamics. My name is Trish Thomas, and I lead Marketing and Communications at Advantum. I'll be moderating our conversation today. Remote work, team collaboration across geographies, and the use of digital tools have become core components of modern professional life. COVID pushed remote work into many industries and roles that were formerly in person, and globalization has made international team collaboration more common than ever. Advantum Health has a geographically, culturally, and demographically diverse workforce, and many of our team members work remotely day to day. Today, we want to give some of our internal champions of remote workforce management a chance to share their expertise and advice with all of you to help make remote work a little more productive and less painful. Before we dive in, I want to let our panelists introduce themselves. So if all of you would briefly tell us your name, your role at Advantum, your location on planet Earth, and why this topic's important to you. Melanie, would you like to start?
Sure, yes. I'm Melanie Cox, and I am a principal of operations with Advantum Health, and I've been here for about 7 years, and I'm based in the corporate office in Louisville, Kentucky. And then remote work is important to me because a lot of my team, I have no one on any of my teams that is local to Kentucky at this point, and so it's every day, all day.
Every day, all day. Shelby, how about you? You want to go next?
Sure, thank you. And good afternoon. My name is Shelby Hamill, and I'm in my 27th year with Advantum. And my current role is in account management operations as a revenue cycle management deputy. I currently live in a suburb of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I've worked remotely for the past 8 years. The topic of remote workforce dynamics is an important topic to me because of the growth in knowledge that it has provided me on a professional and personal level, as well as the ability to work with many talented employees throughout the company worldwide. In addition to a remote workforce, this eliminates geographical barriers and it provides access, to a broader talent pool.
Absolutely.
And retention. So it's also cost effective. It has a positive environmental impact as it aids to enhance business resilience in the face of natural disasters, or even, as you had mentioned earlier, any health emergencies such as COVID. So, and again, too, like Melanie, my daily contact is with people outside of my area since I have been fully remote. So it's been extremely helpful.
No, that's great to hear. And I agree. All of those benefits of remote work are reasons to keep it going. Anupam, how about you?
Good morning. So my name is Anupam, almost like 17 years of work experience, now 8 years with Advantum, working as Associate Vice President for RSM operations, majority work on the enterprise accounts. So when it comes to the topic, workforce dynamic, I think when it started COVID, I believe, we had this remote work was introduced. From there, I think I was a part of that. And then we have seen a lot of the changes. We have seen the technology, how it helped us. And of course, a lot of things that we have to talk. And of course, as long as this discussion went, we'll add our topics or our discussions. Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, you're up.
Good morning or good evening or afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon. I'm Sarah Wilson. I am the Director of Operations for Provider Enrollment. I've been with the company for 9 years and have been working remotely since COVID. So I do work with the team all across the U.S. as well as all across the world. So definitely we have seen the benefits of the working remotely, how they have benefited our team through the health pandemic. And then since then, the whole world and my clients have also continued to work remotely as well. So it's not much has changed since COVID, but in terms of working remotely, but it's been a very useful asset to our team and to our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is the new normal for sure now in our line of work. Well, thanks to all of you for taking some time out of your Monday to join our discussion today, recorded remotely, of course. To kick us off, I want to just ask a few questions to guide our conversation, but feel free to share your thoughts anytime if something important pops up. I wanted to talk first about how remote work is very contingent on apps, tech tools, and digital collaboration. So while technology's enabled a lot of wonderful things, including the ability to work together from anywhere in the world, it's also removed that live in-person element of traditional work. Each of you specifically has excelled in leveraging digital tools with your teams to accomplish your jobs. I'd love to hear some tips from each of you on using technology wisely to overcome some of the challenges of a remote workforce.
I think one of the challenges that I face on a pretty regular basis is keeping access points open and available for team members and myself. And one of the ways that we keep a hold of that is you have to be organized. You have to know what websites you go to, how do you get into them, and then if you're a team lead or a manager, you need to know how you gain access to those for new users. And so that took some learning on my part, some really difficult years before I realized, oh, I should have a list that I use to start up someone new every time they join my team. So that's a big
it's
point
never
for me.
one tool. I know there's always like 13 things you have to get people plugged into. And yeah, an onboarding checklist can be super helpful. Who else has a good tip for using tech for remote work?
I think I'll go ahead, Shelby.
Okay, thank you, Advantum. So I think by adopting project management and collaboration tools is extremely important. We've started utilizing task tracking through like Microsoft Planner so that we can keep track of our priority tasks at hand and kind of leverage those from priority and then be able to move those around as needed. And then that way, we can check those boxes off when something's complete and then add a new task that needs to be addressed. Also using, the planners and SharePoints for centralized documentation. That allows us to maintain and organize accessibility to ensure that our team members have the access to the necessary documents in order to perform their duties. So those two, I think, have been huge for us to start utilizing over the past year or so. It's really kept us on cue and on point as to what we need to be focusing on. So that has been a huge success.
That is one of the things you lose with in-person work. You can't just, wave your hand across the cubicle wall and say, hey, I took care of that, or here's this piece of paper. So yeah. Very helpful. And Advantum, you had something to share too.
Correct. So like remote work, I think the major challenges are that you can say tips that we can use to make team happy. Of course, what Shelby said, the project management tool, Microsoft Team Planner that we can utilize to track our tasks, make our team productive. Along with that, I think the other challenges or tips that we can use it to make our cybersecurity point of view, right? We have to add our VPN because we're working remotely. So it's a very important team to use right password, make their password strong, right? The right use of VPN. Other thing is collaboration, I believe. That's one of the other points that we should be using. And I think Microsoft is good into that. Though I think earlier stage, I believe team were used to do Zoom, I believe. They were more into Zoom and GoToMeeting. But I think after this Microsoft team, has been introduced to individuals and to us, to this industry, I believe that's the major changes where team can coordinate easily, they can collaborate easily, they can be on the camera, they can talk easily. They don't have to use, additional dialer. They have simply they can talk directly.
Yeah, all in one place. It is nice.
Yeah, all in one place. And the collaboration is very important, right? Because you're working remotely. So once you're remotely, you would need your team on your face. And video calling, I think that's see, right now we are again remotely, right? I'm in India, Hyderabad. You all are there different places. And this Microsoft Team video calls makes all into one places. We can see the faces, we can interact, we can read the face, how this person is feeling, right? And then we can communicate faster and easily. So I think that's one important, or I can say the tips that team should be more active in using the Microsoft Team the technical tool for the better collaborations. Of course, Shelby said about Microsoft Management tool, planner like that. Then we have, of course, cybersecurity point of view. We should be strong enough to manage. I think these are the major. Along with that, I think other tips is more about how to train our people. As Melanie
Oh, Anupam just cut out.
Yes, he did.
Those are all really good points, though, and I agree that the security of the tech platforms you're using are critical. Sarah, what have you found on your team?
For my team, for provider enrollment, we have a robust software that is Advantum Eve that we use to track onboarding providers through enrollment to completion. And of course, for our clients, getting a provider enrolled with the payers and prior to start is absolutely our number one goal. So they get paid day one. And then the biggest thing too is getting them into those payer systems for authorizations and referrals. So, we have a robust reporting system that allows us to track everything from expirables to outstanding enrollments, and that we can help to quickly pull reports together to send out to payers to get updates.
That's great. No, I know Advantum Eve's been a huge step forward for your team, so that's great to hear. On this topic, what's missing from remote teamwork? All of you have been in this game for a number of years now. I know Advantum's kind of gone all in on remote, so most of us are scattered all around the country or the world, as Anupam mentioned. Some enterprise leaders now are pushing for employees to come back into the office, sometimes a few days a week, sometimes full time. So clearly the effectiveness of remote work is kind of under scrutiny. And some companies are determining that it's not the best way to foster success. I'd love to hear from each of you if you see a drawback of remote work. Are there any things that you kind of miss out on?
I think the tips that we added, I think opposite to that is a drawback. See, we talk about cybersecurity, right? That's the major drawback or the major challenge for the companies to maintain the securities. Because we work in the revenue cycle management company, so privacy of patients is very important.
Absolutely.
The documentations that we have, we need to make sure that this is in the right place and it has the not, overlook access. So I think the first drawback why companies are calling people possibly to work in offices, one, either did not have enough technology support. Because even if you look at the recent example of the clearinghouse, right? They struggle. I think they are the big giant in this market, but still they got into that, and they struggled a lot to maintain the data. Yeah, to data security. Other drawback, what I feel is mentorship. I think another problem that I have seen, because when you work at your home, right, you'll not be able to, develop yourself professionally well. You will be able to just one place is maybe work to work only, right? You'll perform your daily transaction, you'll perform your daily work. But when it comes to your professional development, I believe that gets struggle.
Right. You don't have that organic back and forth with people. Maybe you find a mentor, a champion internally that you can learn from and have those kind of natural interactions that help build your career. Absolutely. What have some of the others of you seen as potential drawbacks?
So for me, I'm an extrovert and I do better if I see people occasionally. And fortunately, the leadership from our company acknowledged that and realized that in me very early post-COVID, and told me that I needed to start coming to the office a few days of the week. And they were very clear with me that they were doing that because they could tell was impacting my mental satisfaction around my work. And it was leading to me not being as productive, not feeling connected, and not getting as much done successfully as I do when I do come to the office a couple of days of the week and interact in person. And so I think for some people, we have to acknowledge that for our teams and find ways to help them feel connected and involved and be seen as a person and not just somebody typing on a computer.
Agreed.
So-
There's people that really, really thrive on those one-on-one interactions and personal
Yeah.
relationships. Shelby, Sarah, do you guys have anything to add?
Yeah, so definitely that's a key point to touch on, because everybody is different, everybody learns differently, everybody works differently. So I think it's important to know yourself first, is how you work best. If you need that interaction face to face, that's something you need to know, whether it is full-time in office, part-time in office, if those are opportunities afforded by the company. You need to know that and be able to go with it, because definitely remote work full time does take, particular elements. You have to have great organization and management skills, effective at communication. You have to be able to fix little techie issues on your own sometimes, which I've definitely come across. So to be able to, get through those issues, whether it's scanner, computer, monitors, you kind of have to have a little bit of that techie edge to you. So yeah, if you struggle in those areas, then,
Yeah, it's going to be challenging.
you'd want to be, in the office setting, I believe, So
Sure.
yeah, those are definitely key points.
Sarah, do you have anything to add that they didn't cover already?
Well, ours is just about fostering a relationship with your team. So you just really have to make sure that you get to know your team and kind of what drives them, which for most people it's family. And so then, and just everybody has family stuff that comes up, and knowing what is going on, with your team. And then, of course, in our industry, we have ebbs and flows. So like, for example, we have graduation season for physicians, which is the end of June. And so that's just naturally a very busy time for us. So just knowing that your team gets busy and kind of reminding everyone that we're going to make it through this graduation season, like always. So, and just managing that workflow and just being aware of those increased volumes and things when they do occur.
Yeah, that there's still seasonality to businesses. There's still unique personality types, and people have to kind of honor how they like to work and function. Yeah, all really good points. Advantum's global. A lot of companies are now too. So cross-cultural communications and time zone challenges can be a big deal. I know right now, I think we're scattered across at least 3 different time zones, if not more. So this kind of layers in issues of availability, communication gaps, maybe sometimes cultural misunderstandings. There's holidays. Sarah, you touched on seasonality, but there's also like holidays that don't line up, periods where people in the US are offline, and then maybe there's periods where our team in India is offline. Talk to me about some of the hurdles that you faced with global teams and maybe tips on how to overcome them.
So one thing that we face some is a difference in accents and being able to understand even among English speakers. Like, it's not just across countries, sometimes it's across time zones in the US. And so one of the things that we've found that helps with that is the transcript function in Microsoft Teams, especially for Teams meetings. It allows you not just to hear what someone's saying, but to see it as well in a fairly like on-time situation. And for me personally, like, I have a team member who wasn't getting the things done that I was asking her to do. And it was because she wasn't understanding what she was being asked. And she was afraid to say, I don't know what you just said. Can you please type it out? And so letting your teammates and your peers know, like, if you don't understand something or you can't hear me or understand what I'm saying, please ask. We'll write it down. And then personally, just working on enunciation and speech and your speed of communication, slowing down and being intentional with your mouth.
Reiterating important points. Yeah, making sure you're heard. Yeah, very true. Who else has a kind of cross-cultural time zone challenge, global comms tip?
I think I can add more actually. Because what Melanie was saying, language barrier, of course, that's the language barrier because when you work for the two different time zones, you will be seeing the language barriers, and of course, how to improve this language barrier, how to avoid this is, of course, your frequent communications, knowing each other's, interacting each other's frequently. I think that's where team will get the adaptability. They will hear you more. They will understand you more. I think
Sure.
from there, they will start understanding easily. And of course, time zone differences. I think I'm the example. Sitting
What
in
time is it where you
India,
are now,
it's
Anupam?
it's 8 o'clock p.m. in the
Right.
night, right? And in US right now, 10:24, which is close to 10:30. So this time zone gap we are managing. So how we're managing? You have to be open to adapt to the business requirement. So we are open to adapt, and that's how team has adapted this time zone, and they are available to deliver the business requirement. And that's what Melanie was saying, that working with two different time zone is important. How openly, effectively, and how frequent you are communicating.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and I
Everybody
think
needs, yeah.
just to add to that, I think something else that's interesting that happens that I don't really think about until it happens every year is the time change. And
Oh,
so,
yeah, we just
yeah,
went through that here
our
in the
teams-
US, and it was a pain.
yeah, our teams in India will miss meetings for the first week because they'll forget that the times have changed.
Yeah.
So, especially
Yeah.
the internal little guys. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Daylight savings time, always fun.
Yeah.
Sarah, Shelby, anything else you guys could think of around that topic?
Not really. I mean, it is all just kind of what Anupam and Melanie had stated. It's the language barriers, but having those the tools, to be able to do the chats, and as leaders, us encouraging our team members to not fear questioning or asking us to repeat ourselves or to write it down. So we have to let them know, I think, sometimes up front, especially with new hires, letting them know we are here for them. Don't hesitate to ask any questions. That's what we're here for. So
Right.
it's
And I
just
know,
definitely open
my team in
communication.
marketing, we're scattered across 4 time zones. Everybody's in the US, but in different locations. And I find that even sending notes out, summaries after meetings. So to your point earlier, Melanie, and you reiterated, Shelby, like making sure things are in writing and you're crystal clear about what really mattered out of that call can be super helpful.
Yeah.
For me, it's
go ahead, Sarah.
I'm so sorry. It is being able to do the teams meetings like this with your team. I'm notorious for demonstrating something. Maybe a payer has a new process and something has changed, and I'll demonstrate that and then stop sharing and say, okay, now it's your turn. You share and show me that, because I want to see that, let's walk through it. Let's answer your questions. It's really being there for your team, to work with them and coach them directly like that. The other thing is we're a very diverse company. Not only are we global, but very multi-faith. So it's been very interesting to get to know people through their religious beliefs and their different festivals and their different foods and their, what each one of those signifies. So, I mean, it's been a very unique cultural experience for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about some of the great things about remote work. How can it actually improve team performance? There's always the concerns about people slacking off, people not knowing each other personally, operating suboptimally. We've touched on some of those things. But it also allows people to work on their own hours and terms. It pushes distractions of the office away. There's so many good things about remote work. I'd love for each of you to share what you love most about it and how you've seen it improve performance with your own teams.
Okay, I'll take these questions. So I think there is a lot of benefit also if we use our technical tool effectively. So the first thing is flexibility. Team will get team will be more flexible. They can deliver the work based on their need. The only thing is that they should be trained enough to understand the business requirement. They should be able to understand their skill set. I think that's the important thing. Other benefit working for remotely is, I believe, the travel time. They will be to reduce the travel office to their home,
Commutes.
right?
No.
Commutes, right? So I think there are many people who invest more than 1 hour to come to the office. So 1 hour, to come to the office, and again 1 hour to reach their home. So 2 hours time that they spent, I think those time they can use to make their life better,
Sure.
right? So this
Yeah, you
helps
trade
the
non-productive time for productive time.
yeah. So that's the work-life balance, that can contribute there. They can use that to increase their professional knowledge. They can use various online courses or online applications that we have. I use Simply Learn, Udemy, right? So people can use these online learning tools to enhance their knowledge. I think that's how I think this remote work can help them better. But again,
Great.
as we
Yeah,
said, you have to be skilled enough to manage the things.
you do. You do have to have that base, that foundational ability to work with technology and digital platforms. What have some of the others of you seen as some of the real benefits of working remotely?
Well, I think in the US, I truly and honestly believe our workforce is moving to a more flexible working day. And if we don't match that and meet that, it will cause problems with hiring as these new generations come into the workforce. They expect to be able to say, hey, I have an appointment. I'm going to pop out. I'll be back and get my work done after. And so the flexibility, I wrote in my notes, actually, I love the flexibility that this allows for our teams. But then I think also thinking about a health aspect, you don't have people coming into the office if they're not feeling well and getting everyone else sick. You don't have we had a really bad flu season this year, and we didn't have to worry about the flu coming through our cubicles and wiping people out for weeks at a time because we all stayed home, because you can stay home and not bring in the germs that your children are dragging into your home from school. So
That is true. What else do you guys like about it specifically?
So personally, I think depending, my past experience with offices, there were a lot of distractions, other people on the phone or in meetings, or just if you're sharing space sometimes. Me personally, that was a little harder to focus. So eliminating some of those distractions can definitely help me produce more quality work in a quicker turnaround time. Um, so, I mean, that's my main. It also reduces the commute, the time from, driving from home to work and back. So, if I needed to work a little over, I can do so to finish something and not worry about getting home on time for something else. So those things, I'm more energized because I'm not having to wake up earlier for travel time. So yeah, I'm definitely more creative that way, more energized, and it's just a better approach for my work to be completed personally.
Great. What's your favorite thing, Sarah?
Really, it is kind of copying off Shelby here, but the time to be able to focus and really, I get way more done at home than I ever did in the office in terms of being able to have that quiet time to focus. We have lots of meetings and lots of things to do, but you can carve out those hours of your day to knock out certain projects or do your research for the next project. So
Yeah.
just having that dedicated time and to be quiet, I guess, and me to be able to organize myself.
No, I find that helpful too, because that's when I have a block of work, like I need to write something or whatever. It's really, really helpful to not have people all around you, ambient noise, conversations going on, all of those things. Well, let's talk, last topic, about how people, and this has come up with some of your comments, how do people build relationships, a reputation, and really advance their career trajectory when they're remote? Because that's come up, I think, for all of you, that one of the drawbacks can be the detachment it creates from personal interactions and professional networking. That's allowed people to move forward in their careers, gain knowledge, build long-term success and high performance, and really earn those promotions. What advice would each of you give people new to promote work to help them really grow as a professional?
I think interactions plays the major roles because working from home, major drawback is of course reputations, building the team bondings. I think these are the major challenges, and to avoid this, or you can say to make it more success, I believe the daily interactions to the Microsoft team or any technical tool that we can use. I think face-to-face interactions can give the more benefit to create the reputations and team building. And for this, not only that you have to talk about your process-specific questions or business-specific questions, you also need to talk at least 5-10 minutes to each individuals to understand what is happening in their life, right? How we can help them to be successful. Of course, one of the requirements will come the learning tool, but those options is also available. Like we said, we have the online tool that we can use to enhance our knowledge. So I think the reputation, team building, all these are part of your interactions. How effectively you are interacting, how you are interacting. Are you interacting only for the business purpose? Are you also interacting for the casual talks, which can help them to reduce their burdens or to be stress free for them.
I
I
agree
think
with
these are the
that. It's
majors.
easy to
Yeah.
only have business meetings and to forget that
Mhm.
maybe sometimes at the end of the day, you should just check in with a teammate just about life,
Yeah, at least 5
personal
minutes.
stuff.
Yeah.
It can be really, really
Mhm.
helpful.
Correct.
What would some of the rest of your advice be for career building?
I would say to people, you need to speak up and participate in meetings. If you are in a group
That's a big
chat,
one.
you need to answer the questions asked in the group chat. If you're in a meeting and someone's asking you to participate in a collaboration and give thoughts and opinions, verbalize those things. If you have questions about what's happening, involve yourself. Be interactive. Don't just be someone on camera in the corner. Participate verbally, and that can be scary, especially if it's in a larger meeting setting. But and this all goes back to something that our CEO talks about, and that, like, toot your own horn, talk about your wins. Don't just talk about the problems you're having, talk about your successes. Because the reality is, we're in customer service and our product is our work and our time. And so that's what you're trying to do when you're building a reputation and building a network, is showing people what you've got to offer and the impact that has on the world around you and the company that you're working with. And you have to be willing to say, like, no, I did this and this result happened and it was really good, without being obnoxious, obviously.
Right. No, Tammy is big on that. Celebrating impact. She loves that. Other tips or advice?
I'll just piggyback off of Melanie. I mean, it is really just getting yourself involved. And I think really over the past couple of years, that Advantum has really upped its communication. Our regularly scheduled meetings on daily basis has really helped with our collaboration, our collection of thoughts. So I think the more you are involved and the more that you do these things, some of those fears, will subside, and you become engaged. You get to know your peers. You get to know, you gain some of their knowledge, their leadership skills. It has been amazing transformation. And I think then it's very encouraging, to want you to do better, to learn more. For instance, I mean, just from this happening, I was engaging myself more, and it pushed me to go for a coding certification. So, in the process of that, and it's been a wonderful experience. So I think having the leaderships to push you to always want to do better and involve yourself. So those are key qualities.
Self-motivation and team motivation, I
Mhm.
think are really, really big
Correct.
ones to find how
Yeah.
to capture that. Sarah, do you have a closing tip or anything for
Sure.
listeners?
When you're managing a team, sometimes you can see the forest for the trees. You can see the larger picture, and what projects are most impactful to your clients. So if you can give team members an opportunity to shine in those situations as well and speak up and say, here are some of our priority projects for this quarter or this month, and give them that opportunity to shine. It does give those people the ability to step up and take those leadership roles and move into a leadership role from there as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that promotability is really important for people who work year after year remotely and miss some of that in-person contact. Is there anything we haven't touched on about remote work that any of you feel is important to share?
I think flexibility is key and having a backup plan. What happens if your call drops while you're on a client meeting? How are you going to reconnect? If your internet stops, do you have a hotspot available? What are the things that you've done to make sure you can stay connected through your day if something unexpected happens?
Very smart. Always plan B.
Yeah.
Anything else before we close?
I think we covered a lot. I mean, we
We
covered
did.
what is needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course,
We
what is
did.
beneficial for the team. Yeah, we covered.
Yeah, no, I think there's some really good tips and takeaways here for everybody who's learning to work remotely or also just trying to perform better and improve their collaboration and communication. So thanks for a lively discussion to all of you. Really appreciate you sharing your experiences and advice and insights. I'm looking forward to seeing how we can continue to make remote work more effective here at Advantum. Just want to thank you all for participating. Have a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Trace.